worldwide sound. TalkTainmentRadio.com. We give you a reason to come. The world's greatest radio. We give you a reason to stay. Radio, the way it should be heard. You got the power.
The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guest and not necessarily those of TalkTainmentRadio.com, the management, the staff, or K&E World Network, LLC.
This is the Wellness Spot, and I'm Tanya Karen. Wellness is a choice, Wellness is a choice. TalkTainmentRadio.com. We go where you go. The world's greatest radio. Radio the way it should be heard. You're in touch with the Wellness Spot, and I'm Tank the Nurse. Call in at 1-877-932-9766. Watch us and hear us on Facebook /Talktainment Radio. What is your body saying? Is it in your genes? I want to discuss cancer and genetic testing. There's a lot of talk about cancer and genetics. Is it hereditary? Is it not hereditary? Can our DNA change? Can our body rebuild? What can we do when it comes to cancer? First off, I want to give you some information and some stats about cancer. The top illnesses leading to death in the United States, number 1 is heart disease. Number 2, cancer. Now, I find that is really amazing data when we think about the top illnesses in the United States. We hear a lot about diabetes. We hear a lot about suicide. I discussed suicide not too long ago. But when you look at the numbers and you look at how things are affecting people in the United States, suicide has a rate of about 50,000 a year. And that's not attempts, that's an actual suicide. Kidneys. We see dialysis centers popping up everywhere, all over. I was just driving around Columbus the other day and saw 2 new kidney dialysis centers. But kidney dialysis and nephritis only amounts to 50,000 in a year. Pneumonia. Now this one is very shocking to me because I always thought pneumonia was higher. And the reason I thought that was because most times when people go into the hospital, they may go in for something else. They may go in because of a car accident, a surgery, an acute traumatic episode, but they end up getting pneumonia. But pneumonia only comes in, as far as for our yearly stat, 60,000 deaths in the year. Diabetes at 75,000. Alzheimer's, 120,000. Stroke victims, cardiovascular stroke, 140,000. Respiratory problems, whether that's asthma, COPD, emphysema, 160,000. Now, here's where we get into some good information. Preventable injuries, 170,000. Cancer, are you ready? 600,000 deaths per year from cancer. And heart disease, 650,000. Now I've done a couple shows on heart disease, and that's very near and dear to my heart because so many people walk around with heart disease, or they know they have heart disease, but they don't take care of themselves adequately, either by not taking their medication, and a lot of times, especially when it comes to men, and not being biased, but a lot of men have a problem taking their heart medicine because of erectile dysfunction and other things that can affect the body when you take heart medicine. And again, we've had several shows on that, and we'll probably do another show. But today I want to dive into cancer. 600,000 deaths a year to cancer. Now, so then that cause me to want to see what are the top cancers that are growing. We know breast cancer is very big, especially in the African American population. But pancreatic cancer is becoming a huge epidemic. Brain cancer, esophageal, liver, and skin. Now, we have other cancers. We got the colon cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer. But one of the things that I want to, when I mention this, I want to give you two sides, because again, the topic today is, what is the body saying? Is it in the genes? And it's not so. It's important to know what the body is saying, because the body does not lie. But it's also important to know, are we listening to the body? Are we being mindful of what the body is telling us? So, couple things. One, it is a fact that the body rebuilds itself in less than 365 days. Now, why didn't I just say a year? Because each organ and body system has different timelines, but every year you have the potential to have a new body. The entire body in less than 2 years. Why is that? That's because 98% of the body rebuilds itself in less than a year, and only 2% takes a little longer than that year. So what that means is every cell eventually dies off and is replaced by a new cell. So isn't that good news? Isn't that wonderful to know that every year, let's say year and a half, I can have a new body. I have a new body. But the question is, am I growing the exact same cells? Am I doing the exact same things that my body continues to just replicate itself with either the dis-ease or the wellness? So every day I have an opportunity to build a new body. And that's what I want everyone to remember and take note of. Every day we have the opportunity to wake up and to start to rebuild a new body. So let's think about that. When I say that, the liver, you have a new liver every 6 weeks. Your bones rebuild every 3 months. Our brain, every year. 1 year, our brain rebuilds. DNA, every 2 months. The stomach lining, every 5 days. So if you are someone that has stomach issues, that whatever that could be, when it comes to talking about stomach, it can go from one end of the spectrum all the way over to the other. But you have a new stomach lining every 5 days. Your skin, every year. So every year I have a new suit. I have a new skin. So if you have skin, there's a number of things that people can have wrong with their skin or don't like about their skin. Then we have the ability and the opportunity to change that and have a new skin. Our blood, every 4 months. And that one is pretty well known, because if you are anemic or you have blood issues, the doctors will tell you that it takes 3 to 4 months for you to get new blood cells. So the thing that we need to know is that when we get new blood cells, what are we rebuilding? Because our blood cells carry the nutrition and the information and our cells throughout the body. There's a wonderful doctor that most people are very familiar with, Dr. Bruce Lipton. He's wrote several books, Epigenetics 101. He has an academy. He also wrote the book Biology of Belief, and that's an amazing book, especially for anyone that is pregnant, having children, already has children. Bruce Lipton's Biology of Belief is a must-read, especially Chapter 7, Conscious Parenting. But he has a nice YouTube video. It's called Epigenetics 101. And what Dr. Lipton says in that video is that, is it really in the genes? Is it, he compares it to someone building a house. And he says, is the contractor the one that builds the house? Or is it the person that designed and developed the house? So when you look at that video, you'll see who really has the power in our genes. Is it hereditary, or can our DNA be corrected? And I'm here to tell you, yes, it can. He talks about in the video the receptor sites. And I'm not going to go too technical, but I have to explain how that works. Each cell in our body, which we have 100 trillion cells, each with 6 gigabytes of memory, and each cell has thousands of receptor sites. And if I could, put my fist up, and this is like a receptor site. And what happens is ligands carry information and land on the receptor site. And it's like the right key to the right lock. And when the right information is carried to the receptor site, it then can be transferred into the cells. So, again, if we give our body what our body needs and our cells have what they need, the body was designed by God to repair, to rebuild, and to detox. So our body is designed to take care of us in a way that will detox all toxins that we come in contact with, will repair any damaged cells, and rebuild and restore the body back to how the original blueprint was designed. And in the original blueprint, there is no heart disease. In the original blueprint, there is no cancer. There is no diabetes, and a lot of that has to do with what we take in. So let's talk a little bit about when it comes to cancer and genetic testing. Like I said, there's a lot of information out there on should we get the genetic testing, should we not. A lot of people don't want to know. And I say, when we say we don't want to know, I don't know that that's a good stance to take, because one thing we all have to know is that everybody has cancer cells in their body. Everybody has cancer cells. The question is, do those cells get activated and cause havoc or manifest into a cancer? So, not everyone that has cancer cells will develop cancer. It's a fact that about 5 to 10% of all cancers are thought to be from a gene mutation that's inherited or passed down through the family. And when it comes to that, there's another wonderful book out, The Genie and the Genes. And I think what Bruce Lipton helps us to understand is when it comes to genetics, things are passed down because we do the same as our parents did. And so if we think the same way and we eat the same way and we conduct ourselves the way our parents did, then that is what is passed down. And he also has a very good video out there called Rich Man, Poor Man. And in that video, what he talks about is the first 7 years of life and how that is the years when we become who we are. And why is that? That's the years of things being downloaded. That's when, from the time we come out of the womb to 7 years, it's a download phase. It's when the body is in the theta stage. That's THETA, the theta stage. And that's the stage of hypnosis, or our brain wave is low to where we are recording and we are learning. We are learning a lot. And in that learning, we learn the behaviors that we will take with us throughout life. So when we're talking about genes, who are we mimicking in our first 7 years of life? Our parents, our grandparents, our aunts and uncles, the people around us. We're not making our choices on our own. We are learning how we should behave, how we should respond by our environment around us. So that's where things become inherited and genetic. So when you're talking about genetic testing, when you do the test, are you saying that a person has cancer? No, you're not. It means that the person has a higher risk for developing a certain cancer. I'll take my family. I have several cousins, several first-line generation parents, my mom, my sister, distant cousins. Breast cancer is very big in our family. I actually did genetic testing to see what my risks were for having breast cancer and why. One of the reasons I did that is because my mom and my sister developed breast cancer in their 50s. And that's a very young age. So, being in my 50s, I went and had the test done. So the test can help us to determine if we have a higher risk for a genetic mutation that may be found in our family. Why would someone want to know that? For me, we can live in a preventative way. And I choose to do that every day of my life. Everyone knows I'm the oil boss. I use a lot of oils. I ingest oils. I put oils on topically. I have oils that I use for my face, for my hair, for everything. And why is that? Because I want to be an advocate and I want to practice self-care. So in practicing self-care, I know on an average, everyone takes in 16 or more toxins every day. The soap we use, the toothpaste that we use, the lotion that we use, the hair products, the makeup, the perfume, the air we breathe, the water we drink, the preservatives and the things that are listed in, that are put in our food. If you have a diet of processed food, so many toxins, cleaning supplies that we use in our home to keep our homes clean, our car. We are constantly bombarded with toxins on a daily basis. But how often do we do things to get rid of those toxins within our body? Some people will do detoxing quarterly, every 3 months. Some people more. Some people, like myself, can have a lifestyle. I don't do an aggressive detox, but using essential oils tune up my body. They provide a daily method of detoxing and getting rid of things that I may take in that are toxic. I also have to exercise. I have to breathe well. I have to practice breathing. And when I talk about breathing, I talk about breathing ugly. And that's because I think a lot of people breathe cute. You can't even tell that they're breathing. You don't see their diaphragm expand and contract. So that is good breathing because that activates our lymphatic system when we can push our stomach all the way out and suck it in. Even if you do that twice a day, say 10 times in the morning, 10 times in the evening, practicing ugly breathing. Just breathing in, push your stomach all the way out, suck it in. That activates our lymphatic system, which helps our body to get rid of toxins. We have to exercise. We have to do some purposeful movement. Some type of purposeful movement outside of our normal routine. Even if we have a job that we do a lot of physical, our body is used to that. We need to do purposeful exercise. These are things that, along with, rather it's essential oils, rather it's natural herbs, rather products like Micro Daily that helps to build your glutathione in your body, that master antioxidant to help you become, help your body to repair and take care of itself, taking long walks, and I'm not sure how I forgot to mention laughter and a great relationship with God. A great relationship with God. It is proven that those that have a relationship with a higher source tend to do well when it comes to any type of illness or life-changing event that can come upon us. Laughter. Laughter is proven to be a good medicine for the body. So we can't just do one thing, we have to do multiple things. It takes a lifestyle change in order to live in a preventative way to take care of the body. So I wanted to talk about this because, again, there's a lot of information out there on cancer, and there's a lot that we can do to take care of our bodies and to do the best we can with this body. We can take good care. So I came across a company, the American Family Financial Association, that does genetic cancer screening. Now, how do you qualify for genetic cancer screening? One thing is, it is a covered benefit from Medicare. That's something that should excite everyone. It's a covered benefit, so it's something that you can do to help your doctor take better care of you. You know, if you have Medicare, Medicare Part A is our hospital insurance. Medicare Part B is our medical insurance, which is where the genetic testing is a covered item. It's covered by several PPOs, those that have like Aetna PPO. Let me see what some other ones. I got a list here. The original Medicare Part B, Aetna PPO, United Healthcare, AARP, HMO and PPO, Cigna Medicare PPO. This is a covered benefit. A lot of Medicaid states their Medicaid is starting to offer this benefit. There was a wonderful show that was on the talk show The Doctors, where they talked about the BRCA test and talked about genetic testing. Now, of course, we know of a famous movie star that had the money, and when she got her genetic testing, she had surgery. But that's not the only option. With genetic testing, if we change how we eat, if we change how we think, if we change our lifestyle, we can change the outcome if our genetic testing showed a high risk for a certain cancer or not. So how is this genetic testing done? It's done by a simple mouth swab in the mouth, and it's sent off to a lab, and they can take a sample of your genes, just like we do with DNA tests, and be able to give you a predictive cancer screening that can let you know based on the top 8 cancer types. So some of the questions that can help you know if you qualify for this test is, do you have a family history? Do you have any first-degree relatives? You know, those are your mother, father, sister, brothers that have had cancer. Do you have any family members outside of the first degree that had the same cancer? As in my family, a long history and multiple breast cancer throughout the females and our cousins, our grandmother's sisters, cousins. I mean, just a deep family history of breast cancer, or say prostate cancer. Another thing is maybe one or more family members have cancer that they got at a young age, or they have a rare form of cancer that excuse me, is not so common. Those would be reasons that you would want to do some genetic testing or genetic screening to see the likelihood of a cancer and how that would affect you. This is something that is, again, it's cutting edge, it's new, it's been talked about recently on the doctor show, and a lot of people are just inquiring, is it something that they should get done? Is it something worth getting done, or is it better to not know? It's always good to know what your body is saying, because once you know what your body is saying, then you can take action. Remember, even though I'm talking genetics, I'm talking hereditary, every thought we think has an effect on our body. All of our emotions affect our body. The body is governed by the mind, and it starts with our thoughts and with emotion. That's something that Bruce Lipton talks a lot about, along with Carol Truman, Louise Hay, Carolyn Mead. There are several authors out there that help us to see where our thoughts, and a famous Dr. Henry Wright with A More Excellent Way. He takes a little spin on when talking about our thoughts and our emotions. And for a long time, I didn't understand why he called most illnesses a sin. But now I understand. He calls it a sin because it's 9 times out of 10, it comes from anger, unforgiveness. It comes from lack of love. Love is loving even when the person may not be lovable. I mentioned that to one of my sons this week. We have to be able to love, and that is something that is written in the Bible. We have to love our enemies. We have to do good to our enemies. If our enemy asks for something to eat, we are to feed them. If they ask for something to drink, we should give them something to drink. So that is a thing of love. So when we look at cancer, when we look at illnesses, cancer is something that is proven comes from hurts, unforgiveness, anger, frustration. All of those things deposit in our liver. All of our blood goes through our liver every 4 minutes, because every minute a fourth of your blood passes through your liver. So that means that every 4 minutes all of your blood passes through your liver. And if that blood goes through that filter and has unforgiveness, has anger, bitterness, these are things that are proven to have a correlation with cancer, with types of cancer. And Henry Wright talks about it in his book, A More Excellent Way. If you purchase that book, you can look up a specific cancer and see the emotional and the thought pattern behind that cancer. And so that is why when you do testing, sometimes we think that we have released things, we have forgiven, we have let things go. And that's because we can bury something over and just think that, oh, it's buried over, it's so deep you can't get back to it. But this is where the body doesn't lie, because any memory that is stored in the body will wreak havoc. As long as it is stored there, it is going to cause an effect. So, next, what is the body saying? But more important, are you listening?
Are you ready for a high school that allows you to work at a place that is right for you? Are you ready to earn a certification in health